change a child's life, to be able to bring back that confidence about their smile, for me, is phenomenal.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news on Zodiac with me, Happy Mzembe. The headlines at this hour. President Chakwera arrives in Blantyre to perform official duties in the southern region in the coming days. UNDP implores government to ensure the country has a conducive environment for equitable access to clean and affordable energy. In sports news, the Flames coach Patrick Mabedi admits it won't be easy to beat Senegal in an AFCON qualifier this evening. Now the news in detail. President Lazarus Chakwera has arrived in Blantyre today, where he is expected to perform official duties in the southern region in the coming days. Upon arrival, the President and the First Lady Monica Chakwera had to walk from the Clock Tower to Sanjika Palace while escorted by a huge crowd. It was a triumph entry by the President into the commercial city as hundreds of people came out of their offices to see him amid speculations that he was unwell. The United Nations Development Programme Malawi office has implored Malawi government to ensure the country has a conducive environment that would ensure equitable access to clean and affordable energy among all groups, especially women. UNDP Deputy Country Representative Shala Gerachu made the call in Nirongwe yesterday during the opening of a two-day stakeholders workshop on gender and energy access aimed at identifying and address energy access challenges women face, organized by Ministry of Energy and partners. Principal Gender and Development Officer in the Ministry of Gender, Goodson Jumbe, said many women are still not participating in energy businesses and other programs, hence the workshop. Educationists have deferred on a call by former President Dr. Joyce Banda for the country to adopt a free secondary school education system. Education expert Dr. Limbani Sabato says the proposal is timely in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 of inclusive and equitable quality education for all. However, drawing lessons from the free primary education, Wesley Mwambakulu says the country should work on improving infrastructure, teacher numbers, and resources instead of focusing on free education. Democratic Progressive Party DPP leadership has asked Malawi Congress Party to revisit its priorities because misalignment of the same continues to inflict suffering among Malawians. The party's Secretary General Peter Mukito told the media in Nirongwe that under the MCP regime, corruption levels have increased, impacting on people's livelihood. But government spokesperson Moses Kunkuyu has dismissed the sentiments by the DPP, saying they are the ones that brought challenges Malawians are currently facing. Zoleka Nanguo filed a report.
DPP Secretary General Peter Mukito says Malawi is on the verge of collapse due to unchecked looting of public funds, mismanagement and institutionalized corruption, as well as increasing debt under the current government. He says it is worrisome that despite suggestions made to the government by stakeholders on how to address the challenges facing Malawians, the government has failed to heed. The DPP has also spoken against the use of the national identity cards as the sole identification in next year's polls, as this will be a violation of the right to vote, as some eligible voters do not have national IDs.
What we're asking the government is please revisit us as a government. And at the end of the day, at least let them look at the welfare of the people. The welfare of the people must be looked at, which we believe this government is not. And they should also stop the overborrowing, mainly from our local banks, because that is affecting the private sector. The private sector is the engine to drive this economy. But how can it drive it when all the monies are taken to the government?
But government spokesperson Moses Kunkuyu says government is working on strategies that will help uplift Malawians from the hardships that the DPP led them into.
The beauty is that Malawians have been there and they're still there. The same Malawians that experienced rampant corruption under the DPP administration are still there to see and compare with what is happening now. Government is replacing all those foundations that were broken by the same DPP system. So it's not proper for DPP to say that there is a misalignment of policies now, or they are the genesis of the that are going towards the country.
The DPP press conference was under the theme Unmasking MCP Corruption, Impunity and Electoral Fraud. Zuleika Nanguo, Zodiac, Lilongwe.
You're watching the news on Zodiac with me, Happy Mzembe. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back. My name is Happy Mzembe. The headlines as we continue. President Chakwera arrives in Blantyre to perform official duties in the southern region in the coming days. UNDP implores government to ensure the country has a conducive environment for equitable access to clean and affordable energy. In sports news, the Flames coach Patrick Mabedi admits it won't be easy to beat Senegal in an AFCON qualifier this evening. Now, moving on with the bulletin. Youth and Society YAS says despite the launch of 2 national anti-corruption strategies, corruption remains widespread in the country. YAS Programs Associate Jen Chibisa states that continued corruption has led the group to engage with the youth and other players to strengthen citizen action against corruption. Principal Corruption Prevention Officer for the Anti-Corruption Bureau, Katoto Mtambo, echoed Chibisa's concerns, emphasizing the need for further initiatives. Toera Katswiri reports.
Programs Associate at Youth and Society Jen Chibisa spoke during an anti-corruption stakeholders dialogue organized by YAS under the theme Bolstering Citizen Action Against Corruption. Chibisa said despite continued efforts to eradicate corruption, it remains rampant in the country.
We designed this initiative under the backdrop that despite the launch of 2 successful national anti-corruption strategies and several other corruption acts, corruption still remains a pandemic in this country. We seek to mobilize a group of youth activists, civil society and the media in collaborative efforts to combat corruption in Malawi.
Principal Corruption Prevention Officer for the Anti-Corruption Bureau, Katoto Mtambo, also highlighted the rise of bribery, extortion and sextortion in the country. Mtambo pointed out that while some progress has been made under the National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2, more work remains.
Not everything is done. We still have a lot of initiatives that have to be made so that everybody is aware and takes up his or her own role. According to the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, youth is quite an important pillar in the fight against corruption. And actually, the previous surveys indicated that the youth are also quite affected.
Isaac Chekeziwa, Secretary of the Civil Society Network, noted that inadequate funding continues to hamper anti-corruption efforts.
Fund level involves a lot of money. And to fight it with very little resources is very difficult. You look at the ACB, it can look very weak sometimes when you look at it, because they're the people that are supposed to lead that fight, rallying the entire population against corruption, but they are under-resourced.
Corruption continues to affect key sectors, including public procurement and service delivery, posing significant risks to both the public and private sectors. For Zodiac Mzusu, I'm Toera Katswiri.
The Malawi Electoral Commission insists a date for commencement of the voter registration exercise in preparation for next year's elections remain 21st October, despite some political parties calling for a change of the date. Speaking in Lilongwe at the National Election Consultative Forum, the Commission organized to present a report on the recently held pilot voter registration. MEC Chairperson Justice Annabel Ntalimanja said the Commission follows the law in its operations, hence the position. The MEC chairperson was responding to a request by Democratic Progressive Party Director of Legal Affairs, Chipililo Mpinganjira, to have the dates shifted to allow many eligible voters register for national ID, which is the only identification document for voter registration. Kasim Aubi reports.
Chairperson of the Malawi Electoral Commission MEC, Justice Annabel Mtalimanja, says the commission is not changing the 21st of October 2024 date for commencement of voter registration as requested by some electoral stakeholders.
So Malawi Electoral Commission works within the framework of the law. We are accepting the national ID card as proof of national registration. In terms of the national ID card, I should explain that a registrant can present with a valid national ID card, an expired ID card, or a system-generated receipt from National Registration Bureau which carries the national ID number of a registrant.
During the National Election Consultative Forum, majority of participants, including DPP's Director of Legal Affairs, Chipililo Mpinganjira, expressed dissatisfaction with challenges preventing eligible citizens from accessing the national ID, the only identifier MEC will use during the voter registration. Patricia Galiati is the Secretary General for UTM, whose party also wrote MEC to express their concerns regarding preparations for the next year's polls.
On the problems which we've been having, this is the problem of the National Election Bureau because they feed into electoral commission. If electoral commission is going to have problems, it's because the National Election Bureau didn't do their work.
But in his response, head of the National Registration Bureau, Mphatso Sambo, said all eligible citizens will be registered. On the pilot voter registration exercise MEC conducted in some local councils, including Balaka, Chitipa and Neno, Justice Mtalimanja said the commission is impressed with the performance of election management devices used during the pilot exercise. She said despite some gadgets such as cameras having challenges, the devices, among others, met the minimum capabilities for internet connectivity. For Zodiac in Lilongwe, this is Kasim Aubi reporting.
In sports news, the Flames coach Patrick Mabedi has confessed that it will not be easy to beat Senegal in the African Cup of Nations qualifiers later this evening, but is optimistic that his boys could sail through. Mabedi says the boys are ready for the showdown and wants a perfect response after dropping 6 points in their 2 opening assignments last month. This is the 3rd match in the qualifiers for both teams, Senegal and Malawi, but it is a must-win for the Flames to keep hopes of qualifying for the 2025 AFCON finals alive. And well, that's all we had time for in this edition of the news, but before we leave you, another look at the top stories. President Chakwera arrives in Blantyre to perform official duties in the southern region in the coming days. UNDP implores government to ensure the country has a conducive environment for equitable access to clean and affordable energy. In sports news, Flames coach Patrick Mabedi admits it won't be easy to beat Senegal in an AFCON qualifier this evening. You can log on to zodiacmalawi.com for more news. My name is Happy Mzembe. Thanks for being there. Good afternoon.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this little boy